ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਜੁਨੀ ਸਹਿਬੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਉਦਤੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵਾ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਅੰਗਦ ਪੇਵਾ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਮਰ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਗੁਰਵਾਰੇ ਪੁਰਖ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਰਜਨ ਸੁਖਦਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਹਰ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਗੁਣ ਖਾਨੀ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਰਾਇ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਹਰਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਆਏ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਰਾਏ ਸਹਿਬਾਂ ਗੁਰ ਦਸਮੇਂ ਸਹਾਇ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਗੁਰ ਗਿਆਨਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਬੰਦਨ ਭਗਵਾਨਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਕਲ ਯੁਗ ਪਇਓ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਰੂਪ ਮਹਾਨ 10 ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਇਹ ਰੂਪ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਜੀ ਜਾਨ ਪੂਰਨ ਦੇਖਿਓ ਆਤਮਾ ਦੁਇਤ ਸਭ ਨਿਵਾਰ ਪੈ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੇ ਸੰਤ ਤੇ ਪਦ ਨਮੋ ਹਮਾਰ कहा बुद्ध प्रभु तुझ हमारी बन सके मैं माँ जो तिहारी हम न सकते कर से तुम्हारी आप ले हो तुम कदा सारी सो कह टल गुरु से भी है अहनिस सहज सुभाए दर्शन पर से गुरु कै जन्म मरण दुख जाए दर्शन पर से गुरु कै जन्म मरण दुख जाए।
सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जी। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Guru Rup Sangat, we are now on the 6th video here of the Sri Japji Sahib. In the last video we started to talk about Ik Oankar. We actually only got onto the topic for Ik. And we explained, well, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji explained to the Siddhs why they chose to use the term Ik for Oankar. And they explained why one had been used for Vaheguru. Vaheguru was unique, Advait Sarup. He is the unique form. And the way to subcategorize and explain that was through the three subcategories of Sajati, Vajati and Svegat. These are the differences that are used to show that God is separate from everything else. The other thing that needs to be mentioned is that Ik, Guru Nanak Dev Ji wrote Ik as a numeral, while the rest of Gurbani is written in letters, in alphabetical letters according to the Gurmukhi language. What's the reason for this? Well, the reason for this is if you have the term Ik in a numerical form, it cannot be translated any other way. Vyakaran cannot be used, basically grammar cannot be used to translate that to anything else. If you were to write Ik in a word form, somebody would split that and say I means this and kaka means this and this means this and that means this. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji made sure that within their mantra, within this main mantra that was given by God, that Ik was there. Ik was written in a numerical form, so there cannot be any controversial meanings or definitions for it. So what we're going to go on to is a couple more definitions for Ik and why they are why that number is solely used for God and nothing else. So we've done Sajati, Vajati and Svegat. Now we're going to go on to three differences that Guru Nanak Dev Ji uses as well in order to explain why Ik was used for God. So the first one is Desh. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji say, God has no Desh. Desh means land, or country, or world. There's no specific place he resides. There are those people, there are those faiths that state that God exists within the 7th heaven, or he exists, there are some Sanatan faiths that say God exists within the 5th underworld, protecting Raja Bali there. God exists within the Kir Samundar only. God exists beyond this plane. The Abrahamic faiths all states that God exists in heavens only, that he exists in one place. While Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states that you tell me where God exists. Does he exist in Amritsar? Does it exist in Mecca only? Jagannath only? The Vatican only? Does he exist within this world itself and not the underworlds? Does he exist within the heavens and not within the earth? Does he exist on other planets? Is he just a proponent of our imagination? You know, God is one. The reason for him being one is he is exempt from a desh. He is exempt from a land, a specific land. It isn't like we can say, Manpreet's here in Leicester. Somebody's over there in America. Somebody's living on there are somebody living within Sachkhand or the realms, the upper realms. Somebody living within the under realms. God isn't that way. Gurbani, it states that that is Sri Jap Sahib, Guru Gobind Singh Ji writes, that God is in every land, every place. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, within Gurbani, it says, Sabni Thai, Rave Aap. And then Gurbani again says, Tu Sabni Thai, Jithe Ho Jain. It says that God is everywhere. The Bhagats go on state, Sahib Katha Ram bole, Rama bole, Ram bina ko bole. That God exists within every heart, within every moment, within every piece of space. That is within this world and out of this world. There were Bhagats like Bhagat Prahlad who found God within a pillar, a heated pillar. God exists everywhere, and that's why he is one. He is Ik. No other being in the whole of existence is everywhere. There are those that say that Maya is everywhere. Maya is the illusion known as God. But before the commencement of the universe, when God was all alone, where was Maya? She wasn't there. When God takes back everything at Parlo, Mahaparlo, when he destroys everything and takes everything back into himself, Maya won't be there. The only constant will be God. God is a constant, but he has no specific place. He's everywhere. He is omnipresent in every way. So that's the other difference that Guru Nanak Dev Ji picked out. So this is another difference, another reason why we've written the numeral 1. And then they go on further to say the next one that we use is Kal. Kal is time, or Kal is death. And that's one of the reasons why God is Ik. He is exempt from death. He was never born. He is timeless in every state. When was God born? When was God created? Nobody knows. When is God going to die? According to Gurbani, never. He is constant. Maya will come, Maya will go. Devte will come, Devte will go. Within the Adhyatam Prakash and the Nanak Prakash Granth, it gives the lifespans of each Jug, each age, Satjug, Treta, Kaljug, Dwapar, states that they will come and go. It gives the lifespans of each Devta within the Sri Nanak Prakash and explains that Vishnu has this lifespan and Brahma has this lifespan and Shivji has this lifespan, and then Parlo comes. Parlo is the causation of death or the apocalypse and apocalyptic event, but then another earth comes. According to the Padampuran, it states that the world has come and gone on 5 different occasions, actually completely been decimated and started again. And it states that the avatars that we see in this within this era, are the ones that you see within the Jawi avatar and places like Machka, Chabra avatar. These avatars for the mythical fish, the anthropomorphic turtle, and the boar, they all appeared in this 5th realm. The world has been destroyed again and again and again. The universe has been destroyed again and again and again, and it starts again. Maharaj says that, even when it comes to Devte, Mahadev, Kair Sadasiv, Nirankar Karchina Tanahipiv. You say that Mahadev is the great knower of all, but he doesn't know anything about God. That's within Sri Chaupai Sahib. Ek Shiv Pe, Ek Gai Fir Ek Pe, Ramchandra Krishna Ke Avatar Vi Anek Pe, Anek Hai. It states that these things within the Dasam Granth, that Shivji who's seen as, you look at places like Isha today. Isha revere Shiva. Shiva is the all-encompassing deity. He is God. Well, Guru Gobind Singh Ji states that he's been, he's gone, he's been, and another one's replaced him. Shivji is just a position. It's like having a director. That's what he is. Anybody can attain that position through bhakti. And it is just an elevated status that you can be gained. He is replaced like a king, like a monarch. Any monarch is replaced. One dies and another one comes. Shivji dies and another Shivji is replacing him. That's all it is. But again, they come to an end. God doesn't. God is Abanasi. O Banasi Purkha. It says that within Gurbani. And it says, when you look at where God comes from, you can't say that he's had a mother or a father. You can't say that he is, that was his parents. That's where he's come from. That's when he was born. That is when he died. That is when he was replaced. That is when his position became known to be looked after by another. It doesn't happen. God is exempt from Kal. He is timeless. He's out of the boundaries of time. He's out of the boundaries of death. So there, again, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji go on to say, right, I've mentioned Sajati, I've mentioned Vijati, I've mentioned Savagat, I've mentioned this. You can put any other being and say they're in this world, they're in that world, their spirits here, they're here, that. Or with God, you can't do that. You can't put time down to a specific. Again, with Kal, you cannot put God down to a specific, where he was born, where he died, where he's going to die, where he was. It doesn't happen. So that's the fifth one. And the last one is Vastu. Vastu is the type of form or the type of state that God is in. Within Sanatana Math, the form of their Hindu pantheon or the deities is split into three forms. And that is Vishav, Tejas and Prag. Vishav is known as the awakened state. Tejas is known as the sleeping state. And then the last one, Prag, is known as the dreamless state. So those are the three states that are there. The first one is, like I said, Vishav. Vishav is the state of an awakened being. So all beings, including all of us, all human beings, we are in an awakened state. Jagrata Avastha, that's what it's called, an awakened state. And then we also, from time to time, some of us are in Tejas, where we are in a sleeping state. And then sometimes you go into Prag, where you go into dreamless state, but you can't even remember what you dreamed about. It's completely, you don't know what was there. So these are the three different types of form or states that human beings have, animals have, people have. But according to the Sanatana Math, these three states is what you can find their Hindu pantheon being in. So the awakened state is known as the Virat Swarup. The Virat Swarup is the all-encompassing form of God, where everything within nature takes the form. So everything that is created becomes one representation of God. Now, the easiest thing to do would be go and watch an episode of the serial of Mahabharata, where you get to see Krishna explaining to Arjun on the battlefields of Kurukshetra what God is through the divine Gita that he utters. And during that time, Arjun asks to see a glimpse of Krishna's true form, the Virat Swarup. And Krishna shows it. And basically, he grows to a gigantic frame. All of the vegetation becomes part of the body. The mountains become part of the feet. The eyes are made up by the sun and the moon and everything. The whole solar place takes place. Vishnu takes part. Brahma, Shiva, all the pantheon, they become part of that one big form. Everything becomes part of a Virat Swarup, and that is known as the awakened state of God, as they believe it, awakened state of Brahm. The Hirangarbh is known as the sleeping state, and that is again where it's through the illumination that you get the Hirangarbh. And the Abhyakarit is the dreamless sleep state. I'm not going to go into what they are. There's a big book by Sant Mukhtiyar Singh Sarang, who was a student of Sant Gyani Gurbachan Singh Ji and Sant Gyani Mohan Singh Ji, and he explains the Mool Mantra in massive depth. Instead of using the Virat, Hirangarb and Abhyakrit, he uses Virat, Hirangarb and Ishwar Sroops. And that's what he states are the three forms that make up the awakened, sleeping and dreamless state of God. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that Vastu, so if we look at Vastu, all of these things have different forms, different patterns, different states. But this is according to the Sanatana Mat, that you can get the Hirangarb, Virat and Abhyakrit Sroop, but God is exempt from them. God has no change of state. God is Achal Murat. He is unchanging. He remains the same. So he is exempt from Desh. He does not have a place. He does not have a Kal. He's not part of time. And the last one is Vastu. He is exempt from Vastu. And here, that's what Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji say, that these are the 6 things. Sujati Vijati Swagat, Desh Kal Vastu. These are the 6 things that explain why God is one and has always been one. And there is never a duplicate. There is never a second. You know, there are religions out there that state there is duality. There is dualism. Taoism explains that there's 2. Zoroaster, he explains that there's 2 gods. There's Ahura Mazda is the main one. That is the main god, and then you have a little god. There are dualisms, but according to Sikhi, there isn't. There is no dualism. Dualism becomes a concept of ignorance, and that's what causes dualism. But there is one. There is all one. There is nothing but one. So here we've gone through the terms of Ik, Desh Kal Vastu, and through Desh Kal Vastu we've just touched on Tejas, Pragya, Vishav, and then the other 3 that go into the concept of the Hindu pantheon as the Virat, Hirangarb and Abhyakrit. And in the next one we will just talk about the term Om and why Oankar is used instead, and what Oankar is actually being split into. We'll do that quickly before we get on to the terms of Oankar. So for today we'll leave it there. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. He Gobind, He Gopal, He Dayal La, Prananath Nath Sakhe Deen Dard Nivar, He Samrat Agam Puran Mohe Me Atar, Andhakup Mahapyan Nanak Pare Utar. आए प्रभु शरणागति कृपा निध दयाल एक अखर हर मन वस्ते नानक होत निहाल एक अखर हर मन वस्ते नानक होत निहाल वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।